Tinubu in shock as tribunal judges leak 7 things to remove Bola Tinubu. Breaking news. Hello people, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. A lot of people believe that removing an incumbent president is one of the most impossible or difficult things to do within the country. But I tell you for the fact that this is pure lies. These are just narratives that they are just telling to Nigerians because they want Nigerians to forget about the case and actually move on. There is every possibility and there is high possibility that Bola Tinubu will be removed from that particular presidential position that he's actually occupying by now. A lot of people have been wondering because at the end of the day, P2B has closed his case, Atiku Abubakar has closed their case, Inec and APC have closed their case, and equally Tinubu and Shetima have equally closed their case. Each of these particular parties, called a witness apart from APC and equally submitted a whole lot of evidence and documents to the court. P2B have been submitting a lot of IREF documents and a lot of documents. Tinubu came and called, Tinubu's lawyer came and called a witness and equally submitted several documents to the court, which the court actually admitted and marked as an exhibit. Now, a lot of people have been asking, what is it that the tribunal judges are going to judge? What is it? Because a lot of people have been following this case, but they don't know actually what the tribunal court judges will actually judge. They don't know the cases and probably what they will look at to give their final verdict. And that is why I made this particular video. In this video, I'm going to break down part by part how and each of the cases that the tribunal will judge, in a very deep way for you people to understand how the justices in the tribunal court will actually come up with their judgment. Well, if this is actually your first time of visiting this particular channel, don't hesitate to click on the notification button so you get notified whenever I drop a new and important video like this. Now, let's head straight to the point because I told you guys that the tribunal judges has actually leaked 7 things that will definitely, make or that will definitely be determined to remove Bola Tinubu. Sometimes a lot of us don't really know what is actually happening in the court. We do hear that there is a court section, but we don't know, since everybody has closed down their case, we don't really know, what the judges will now judge after and the documents and everything that they will read. Now, let's head straight to the point. I told you guys that there are about 7 things that this particular tribunal judges actually will determine for them to remove Bola Tinubu. Now, let's start from the number one. Number one thing that these particular tribunal judges will judge is that they will judge whether results that were uploaded onto the IREF is irrelevant during collation process according to the law. This particular thing, you can see the regulation, what the Constitution of Nigeria said and everything, and the Electoral Act said in 38 II, 48 AB, and 51 II, and 93 of Inec regulation. Now, let me give a brief explanation to this particular one. The number one thing they are going to determine is whether the results uploaded into the IREF is irrelevant during collation process according to the law. What P2B and Atiku Abubakar has been arguing in the court, part of the thing that they've been arguing in the court is that for Inec's refusal and their inability to transmit the results to the IREF portal gave room for a lot of manipulation on the physical forms where the results were actually recorded. That is the form E68A. But Inec, the witnesses and the evidence that Inec submitted, is trying to downgrade or downpart this particular IREF, saying that IREF is not even important in collation of results. So this is what the first thing the judges will determine, whether results uploaded onto the IREF is irrelevant during collation of process. After they determine this particular question, now the next thing that this tribunal judges is going to determine is whether if IREF is relevant. Let's say at the end of the day, from this part 1, that these tribunal judges discover that IREF is relevant. Now, the next thing they will judge or look into is that they will not check the recalculation and forensic analysis. They will not check if the recalculation and forensic analysis would result to alteration in the outcome of the declared results. Now, what this part is trying to say that if at the end of the day, the judges determine that IREF portal and IREF results are very important. Now, what they now have to do is to do a recalculation and a forensic analysis to determine if the results will alter in the outcome of the result that we are declared by the so-called Yakubu, Inec and all that. Now, let's say at the end of the first part, if this particular tribunal judges discover that IREF is not relevant, as you can see from the third part, whether if IREF is not relevant, now the next thing they have to do is that they will check if the adopted result sheets by Inec. They will check if the adopted result sheets by Inec upon recalculation and forensic analysis is substantially in conformity with the declared result. Now, if at the end of the day, the judges discover that the IRF portal is not important in the collation of results. What they will now do is that they will now do a kind of recalculation and forensic analysis, of the form EC8A, and they will check if it's substantially in conformity with the declared results. And you can check off this particular thing in section 135 of the Electoral Act. Now, the fourth thing, these particular people, being the Inec, is going to determine, being the tribunal judges is going to determine is whether Tinubu's forfeiture of 460,000 does not contravene section 137 1D of the Constitution. Whether, like I told you guys, that the witness that Tinubu called has accepted that Tinubu forfeited 460,000 after the US government actually understood and uncovered that all the money in that particular account was proceeds from heroin trafficking, and he committed money laundering. Now, the judges in this tribunal will now determine whether Tinubu's forfeiture of 460K, that is $1,000, does not contravene the section. Now, the judges will equally go further. That's the fifth part of it. They will equally go further to check whether it is only on the basis of criminal conviction will someone be disqualified as per section 137D of the Constitution. What APC and Tinubu lawyers are arguing is that the forfeiture of $460,000 by Tinubu was merely a civil forfeiture. It wasn't a criminal forfeiture. So the judges will determine if this particular part of the Constitution, says that is only for criminal conviction that will disqualify somebody. That if somebody has something like civil forfeiture, that it will not affect his disqualification and all that, But we all know the truth of the matter, that the Constitution, this particular section 137 of the Constitution, stated that nobody, as a matter of fact, any person that has ever been convicted by any competent court of jurisdiction, whether it is a drug-related case or money laundering, in whichever word or crime that particular crime was named, shall not be able to be vie for the presidential position. So the Constitution covers that if the person has been convicted and of a crime, means the person has been convicted, whether it's a civil forfeiture or a criminal forfeiture. Now, the sixth part of it, what the Inec will actually, what these tribunal judges will actually look into, is to know whether FCT, being Abuja, not being a state, can be regarded as the 37th state for the purpose of election. Now, you can see what the section 134, I've dealt with this particular case decisively yesterday to prove to you that FCT is not a state. So it is not left for these tribunal judges to not misinterpret or to reinterpret the Constitution to say that FCT can be regarded as the 37th state just during the election period. Like I've said, the judiciary is on trial, because they want to reconstruct our Constitution by saying that FCT could be regarded as 37 states just for electoral processes. But even the Constitution stated that whenever it wants to mention the 36 states, it will mention 36 states and the FCT. The Constitution has distinctively declared that FCT is not a state. Now, the last part of what they will discover, what these tribunal judges will actually look into, is whether Labour Party petition was incompetent with regard to P2B's name not in the register of LP submitted to Inec. See section 1. I've equally done decisively with this. Tinubu's team is trying to disqualify P2B because they believe that his name was not in the member registration form of LP. So if the judges will determine if P2B was an eligible member of Labour Party, that will equally, even give them a chance to know whether this petition filed by P2B has merit or not. So these are the basic things that these tribunal courts will actually determine in order to remove Bola Tinubu. And I believe that one or two of these particular things will definitely implicate